So when we read the Bible, we understand it from a modern Christian perspective in which God is all good and Satan is the creator of evil, and whatever Satan does is automatically an evil deed because, well, that's all he really does. And one of the things that he does is he tortures evil people who have been punished by being exiled to hell. But this raises a weird question. If he's evil, why is he hurting evil people? Why wouldn't he try to hurt the good people? And this comes from the Christians taking a variety of different characters and mashing them together into one entity. And this would be the Satan, the devil. And a brief sort of explanation for this would be that Satan wasn't always evil. Satan was originally an employee of Yahweh. His job was to stand against people that Yahweh wanted to test or prevent from doing something. A classic example would be the prophet Balaam traveling down the road. Yahweh wanted to prevent him from consulting these kings, I believe in Moab, and so he puts a Satan in his path to block the road. And if Balaam were to cross it, then the Satan would kill him. It would strike him dead. And another example would be the story of Job. Yahweh wants to test this person to find out if Job is actually loyal to him. And so he sends one of his angels as a Satan. It wasn't an individual. It was a job title. So he sent this Satan to test Job by taking away everything he had to see if Job would still be loyal. Now, the word Satan essentially just means opposer. And this caused a bit of confusion later on when the Israelites came under influence of the Persian religion of Zoroastrianism that did have a cosmic evil named Ahriman the Opposer, or in Hebrew, Ahriman ha-Satan. And so this similarity in name, in title, the opposer, in Israel, it was just someone who worked for Yahweh and worked against a person that Yahweh wanted to stop or to test. And this cosmic evil from Zoroastrianism, who actually was this great evil, these two things were basically merged because of the similarity in names and because the Jews were now drifting toward monotheism, and they needed something to explain evil in the world. That way they didn't have to blame Yahweh for it, which they did if you read Isaiah 45:7. So Satan, this class of angel, now becomes a cosmic evil, the author of evil. And other things like the Lucifer, the morning star, which was actually a reference to kings, that got thrown into the mix. So did Leviathan, the snake that was in the Garden of Eden, and a whole bunch of other different things. Anything that wasn't associated with God got merged into this Satan character. Now, the idea of punishing the wicked, that doesn't come exactly from the Bible. If you read the Bible, there are some vague passages that you might be able to interpret that way, but that's usually not what they're talking about. The only way you get to that conclusion is if you already have it, and then you read this passage and you try to make it fit the preconceived notion. Where this idea actually comes from is the second section of 1 Enoch, also called the Book of Parables, or the Similitudes of Enoch. And in the Book of Parables, there are 3 visions that Enoch has, and in the second and third vision, which I believe covers like chapters 45 and onward, Enoch, he basically takes this tour and he gets to see heaven and hell and all these other different places. And in both the second and third vision in the Book of Parables, Enoch sees angels of punishment. And these are angels that carry around chains and torture instruments. And what they do is they torture wicked people down in hell, which is not actually called hell. It's just a big fiery pit out in the desert. But this is a clear origin story for the concept of hell that later Christians would adhere to. But these angels of punishment, they didn't work for the fallen angels. They actually punish the fallen angels. They were there to punish all the wicked. And these angels of punishment were sent by Yahweh. They worked for Yahweh. Like the Satans of the Old Testament, these angels of punishment were employees of heaven. Now, as Christianity moved on, they liked to divide things a little more neatly. They wanted a very clear good associated with heaven and everything above, and a very clear evil associated with Satan and everything below. And this really played out in their artwork. And what would happen is characters that were in their artwork would gradually take on new traits. And so an angel that may be tasked with torturing people on behalf of heaven was being depicted among all the other demons and devils down in hell. And gradually these angels would take on more demonic features, and they would no longer look like angels, but they would start to look like demons, even though they were playing the same role. And so, essentially, the Christians had adopted this view contained in the first book of Enoch, in the book of parables, of angels from heaven torturing people. And they took this view, and they didn't quite like the idea of angels from heaven doing these horrible things. Or maybe the idea of these angels being from heaven just kind of got lost, as they were constantly being associated with these demons down in hell. And so these angels of punishment, as they're called, became associated with hell, even though they were employees of heaven.